Hello, everybody. We are going to kick off pretty soon. As people arrive, I'd love to see where everybody's tuning in from. I'm here in Copenhagen with a few of my colleagues. Sweden, Denmark, Malmo. Wonderful. Oh, I love to see where you're all from. Thank you so much for doing this. I love to see, I saw one from Houston, Texas. I am an American, so it is nice to see other Americans tuning in. I have no idea what time it is in Texas, but it is probably early. Thank you for joining us early. Okay, I think we'll give it just about one more minute before we officially kick off. Some people are neighbors in Copenhagen. I see Amy, you could come over and watch watch in real life next time if you want. Okay, I think that we have a pretty much critical mass at this point in the room. I am super excited to kick this one off. Welcome, first of all. We know reporting season is right around the corner. That is what we are all gathered here to think about and look at in terms of the normative product. We are working all year round with customers doing carbon reporting. And so for us, your pains are our pains. That's so true. I think everything that we talk about today is really learning and listening from our users and trying to build a product that is meaningful for them. And my name is Taylor. I have the special privilege today of being the host of the webinar. I can't take credit for any of this, but I am really thrilled to share all of the work that our project and engineering teams have been working on so that this reporting season is fast and efficient. I'm just going to kick off with a short agenda. I will start with an introduction to Normative, who we are, where we come from, what our product does. Then I will share some of the product highlights from the last few months. I will then hand over to Normative's product director, Marika, who is here with us right now. Marika will talk about the product team's approach to development, and we'll show how we've used this process to develop some of the really exciting features for this release. Next, we'll go to Elise, who is our product designer. And Elise will share a very similar storyline about how Normative uses user-centered design at every step of our process to inform product development. And last but not least, we are super lucky to have Lucia on the call as well. Lucia is a climate strategist at Normative and will do a short product demo so that you don't only get to hear us talk about these features, but you get to see them in action. I'm going to kick off with an introduction to myself. As I said, my name is Taylor. I am from Seattle originally. I'm now based in Copenhagen. A few of the things that I love and the things that I love about Copenhagen too are the food. I love biking. And I studied architecture in school. So for me, urban design, sustainable architecture, that is my favorite stuff. At Normative, I'm the product marketing manager. And what that basically means is that I work really closely with the Normative product team to understand how it works. And then I work with the sales and our marketing teams to build a bridge, build a bridge between the product and the world so that we can tell that story in an effective way. I added my LinkedIn URL at the bottom of this slide. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and talk to me. I love learning from people like you. Before we jump into the meat of this, we have a few housekeeping points. We scheduled this webinar for 45 minutes. I know how valuable your time is. We're going to try and keep it at 45 minutes. It will be recorded though. So if you have to hop out, you will be getting a recording at some time in the near future. There is a Q&A feature built into Livestorm, this tool that we're using. So please submit questions along the way. We'll try and get to as many as we can at the end, but if we can't get to them, we will follow up with you directly. And last but not least, we have a webinar survey at the end of the webinar, and we're always trying to improve the relevance of the content that we produce for our users and our customers. So if you have any comments, please share. Take just a few moments to fill out that survey, and that will be really, really helpful for us. And we are going to start with a poll, and we're going to try out this poll feature in Livestorm. And I'm just looking at my colleague who is helping me run some of these features. Here we go. I will just give it a few moments to see how we're doing. So the question is, how are you feeling about the upcoming reporting season? I know it is the very, very beginning of the season, but it is fast approaching. It is super interesting. It is very spread. I think that these results are public. So hopefully you're all seeing what I'm seeing, which is that everything from prepared or more prepared's now, but some people anxious. I'm a bit anxious, to be honest, but also feeling prepared. A few not readies, and one super confident. I'd love to know who that one super confident person is and pick your brain. Awesome. So, I mean, this is such a great representation, I think, of what we see at Normative in terms of the people that we talk to, because there are some people that are super prepared and there are some people that are not. There's some people in the middle who are just a little anxious and don't know what's changing this year. And so I think that this is very representative of our normal audience. So thank you for being candid and sharing that. So to kick off, let's talk a bit about Normative and where we come from. So at Normative, our mission is to make known and reduce the sustainability impact of all economic activities on the planet. And I think it's important to recognize that we approach this mission from many different angles. So you look at our founder Christian has a ton of deep ties in academia. He was a researcher at the University of Oxford. We also have a lot of relationships with the EU and the UN. We co-founded the SME Climate Hub, and we're constantly involved with scientists and climate scientists in this space so that we're up to date on the research. We also partner with innovative companies like Google, who supported the development of our business carbon calculator. Much of the team here at Normative comes from leading tech companies like Pecan, Spotify, and SAP. And all of us, when we come to Normative and we look at the problem facing businesses, this concept called the accuracy gap is the thing that we see as the biggest barrier for businesses to make real changes in their emissions. And we define this as the difference between the emissions a company calculates and those for which it is accountable. And there are two dimensions of this accuracy gap when we talk about it. There's the completeness factor. So that's kind of the, can your report get to 100% of emissions? We know from research out there in the market that most companies are missing 40% or more of their emissions. And when you're missing 40% or more of your emissions, that means that your reporting is going to be incomplete. And you don't know if you are confident with your reporting when it comes to finance, compliance, and other legislation. Of course, you're also opening yourself up to accusations of greenwashing, that if you're not capturing all of those emissions, then people can call you out. I think the other dimension here is this idea of resolution, low or high resolution. And if your measurement is low resolution, meaning you aren't seeing much detail in your calculation, it means that you can't really identify those reduction opportunities if you don't have the detail in your report from the very beginning. The other place that we really see this is in the value chain, that the value chain is the 90% of emissions for most companies, but it's also the most difficult to look into and find those reduction opportunities. And so I think without that high resolution detail in the value chain, it's really difficult to uncover risks. So the way that we respond to this, what Normative does is we deliver the world's most accurate carbon emissions profile through scopes 1, 2, and 3. And this is important because businesses like yours need accurate carbon accounting in order to identify and verify those emissions reductions. And we close the accuracy gap in these three ways. We start with comprehensive coverage. We have 100% coverage of scopes 1, 2, and 3, and you can use that coverage in order to catalyze targeted and impactful reductions in your emissions. All of that is powered by intelligent automation, which helps us to process the vast amount of data in most companies' supply chains. And of course, everything we do is founded on a foundation of scientific integrity. And we're always incorporating new climate and science into our calculations to ensure that they are incredibly trustworthy for compliance, marketing initiatives, and more. When I talk about the upcoming features that we're releasing as part of this reporting season, everything that we're building is designed to boost the level of accuracy in our customers' calculations. I think that's the theme that you're going to hear the most of, from all of us today. So this is the most exciting stuff. What are the new features for the reporting season? On this theme of increasing accuracy, one of our biggest updates is intensity metrics, which, to put super simply, is a way of looking at emissions per employee or by revenue. And this helps companies compare their emissions with their peers, as well as bigger and smaller businesses. Marika is going to talk about this a bit more, so I'm not going to dive super in depth on this one. We've also rolled out a comprehensive system of versioning. And versioning is important, especially this year, because carbon emissions are, of course, changing all the time, but also because inflation and energy prices are fluctuating a lot. And so versioning ensures that you can trace the data that was used for every single one of your calculations. We also have a really beautiful new user interface for collecting emissions data in one place. And Elise will talk about this more in her section in just a few moments. Beyond those product updates, our sustainability engineers have made huge improvements to our climate database. So we've increased the number of emissions factors in our database by nearly 10,000. So we're up to like 26,000 emissions factors total. We've also increased the number of taxonomy categorizations by 3,000, which means there's almost 10,000 total categorizations in the normative taxonomy. And of course, we've added millions of new suppliers from around the world to our supplier database. And what does this mean in practice? So in practice, every additional data point makes it possible for the normative engine to match customer data, whether that's fuel for a company car or cotton in a textile product, to the most relevant emissions data. The more categorizations and emissions factors that we have in the database means we can deliver higher and higher resolution carbon results. And I am super excited to share this one. You don't have to take my word for any of this. One of the things that we came out with in the last 2 months is our emissions calculation methodology. What this is a public document that gives an overview of how normative intakes data, matches it to the right emissions information, and outputs a super accurate emissions profile. We believe in transparency in everything we do, and this is the best way for you to just like take a look under the hood of normative and see how it works. My colleague Michelle is going to share a link in the chat right now if you want to check this out. I have a few more updates when it comes to the ability of normative to scale for companies of different sizes and structures. It's super important, and Marika will talk more about this, for every business to be able to reflect how their operations look in their carbon accounting. The first and the biggest update is the projects feature, which makes it possible for companies to organize their carbon calculations in a way that best suits their business. As I said, Marika will cover more on this in a moment, and Lucia will share a demo of how it works at the end of the webinar today. We're also investing in enterprise-level security for all customers to ensure that this valuable information is secure and protected. And last but not least, we're investing in additional back-end automation for our data scientists and climate strategists. Saving time on data and organization means that you get your calculations faster, and it means you can spend more time on reduction initiatives and less time on just data management and project management. Now I am super happy to pass the mic to Marika, who will talk more about normative product development.
Thank you, Taylor. And good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marika, and I work at the product department, or product team here at Normative. And together with the rest of the product team and many of our other departments, especially our engineering team, we work on ensuring that we build the best product to help and support our users. So today I will share a little bit about how we're focused on this, and I will also share some of our latest releases. And just like Taylor, I also have my LinkedIn here, and also super happy for anyone and everyone to reach out with questions or reflections. So one of the many reasons that I truly love to work at Normative is that we are a user-centric company. And what that means for us is that we know that in order for us to achieve our mission of reducing carbon emissions, we must empower our customers and our users to achieve theirs. And in order to do this, we know that carbon calculations must reflect the reality in order to be meaningful. Because we know that all businesses are generating carbon emissions in an infinite number of ways. So in order for us to support the need of accurately calculate these emissions, we need the tools and the structure and the product that enable us to reflect this reality. So if you think of this bar diagram as a representation over the value and supply chain of a manufacturing company, you know, or we know, that there are emissions being produced at every different stage of this process. And also each of these stages most likely will have different kinds of data. So our task is then to figure out how can we design a calculation engine and a tool that can accommodate this. And again, going back to the user centricity, we of course need to research our users and our customers. And this means not only understanding their value chain, but truly understanding their business and their organization. How are they set up? What are their entities, their departments and regions of the world? And we need to do this in order to build the tools that actually can help and engage our users the most, because it reflects the reality that they are in. And we know that if we can enable accurate calculation, and if we can enable tools that in themselves enable accurate calculations, we can empower our users to understand and to see what part of their businesses have the largest emitting areas, and also where should they begin. What parts of their business should they begin to do the most effective decarbonization of their business? So how can we do this? How can Normative build this process and have this product that supports so many businesses and organizations and users of different shapes and sizes? Well, this is something that I just wanted to share on a very high level. So just like many other product and user-focused companies, Normative truly believe that product innovation needs to be driven by empowered product teams. And this is nothing unique for us, but we truly believe that in order to build the best possible products for our users, we need cross-functional teams that are user obsessed and that also feel a true sense of ownership. And I just want to share on a very high level what this means for us. So if you look at this diagram here, first of all, of course, we are, now I'm going to start with the evidence thirsty part, because of course we are and we need to be evidence thirsty. And what this means is that we know that we need to seek evidence and insight and confirmation in every bet that we make. This is important in any business or in any product development cycle. But we believe and we know that it's even more crucial for us because there's so many things that is constantly changing and constantly happening. And then continuing, of course, we need to be responsive. So we need to constantly push ourselves to act on these fast emerging lessons, so we can ensure that we have the most relevant tools out there to help our users. And of course, metric driven, it kind of explains itself. We need to make sure that we are delivering the right impact. And of course, we need the metrics to ensure that we can follow up on this progress. And last but not least, of course, again, user-centric. We've said it many times. Taylor has said it. I have said it. To achieve our mission, our users must be empowered to achieve theirs. So in the past few months, we have made releases that we truly feel make it possible to customize Normative even more to the needs of our users. And now I would like to share some more details about these releases. Starting off with projects, and Taylor talked about this as well. We know that increasing accuracy in the CO2 measurements is the first step that our customers on our customers' reduction journey. And in order to improve this accuracy, our customers, of course, need a precise baseline. And in order to get that baseline, they need a service that enables them to work with their data in an easy and comprehensible way. And also going back to reflecting the reality, this data, viewing and working with this data needs to reflect every single organization and customer so they can work with their mission in different ways. And we, in Normative, needs to consider how we can reveal emissions and insights in a flexible way. So how do we believe that this will serve our users? We believe that by having this flexibility, we can support the needs for scalable and for scalability, observability, and usability. Also, we believe that we can help our users to collect data in many more ways and to do this more closely aligned with their existing reporting models. In addition, to collect and to view this data that our users have, we also want a way for our users to follow, review, and compare the targets over time. So this is why we think that intensity metrics is such a good addition to our product to really serve our users. Because we know that they want to set emission reduction targets over time, and they want to do this while also accounting for economic growth. So they want to compare with peers or with larger companies if they are, and they want to do this with standardized metrics that can track emissions over time. We also know that the requirements for reporting and certifications is becoming more and more important, and we want to make sure that we can help our users with this. So how is this serving our users? Well, intensity metrics provides a science-based benchmark while also reinforcing a comprehensive coverage. And it helps our users to access an established measurement that they can watch, report, and commit to over time. And this was the last update from me, and I will now hand over to Elise.
Hello, everyone. I'm here representing our product design department. I have been at Normative for a little while now, coming from a variety of different products before. Super thrilled to be in sustainability, working in the sustainability space now because it's such an interesting space and there's so many things changing all the time. So nice to be here. Based in Gothenburg, Sweden, grew up like all over the place. So if my accent is a bit confusing, I'm sorry, but that is the way it is. And as a designer, the reason why I really love this space is I personally really love working with tasks that improve the communication between people, features that improve the communication between people, which might not seem like something that's relevant to the carbon accounting space, but it really, really is. And I will show you why in a second when I talk a little bit about the data collection tab and what kind of findings we found there, basically. What is a product designer? I'm aware that maybe not everyone has encountered someone like me. So I work with product teams and people like Marika to develop user-friendly and delightful features. I'm basically the one drawing them up, visualizing them, explaining and breaking down ideas with the help of all these awesome people I work with. I'm also quite involved with gathering and analyzing feedback on our product from users so that we can work out whether we're building the right features, but also what should we build next? Like what kind of things haven't we started building yet? And at Normative, in product design at Normative, we try to really focus on the human needs in the carbon accounting equation. And it's pretty simple. I mean, I'll talk about it why. Because we believe in so doing, we can have a real impact on both our customers and on the planet, the world that we live in, basically. Because we know there's a certain amount of effort today to account for your emissions. And if we can lower that amount of effort, we can make it easier for more companies to go on this journey to reach net zero. And we feel that the effort that's kind of involved today prevents a lot of companies from going on this route. So that's really my job, is to reduce, lower the threshold that is to account for your emissions. So what the process that we kind of work with at Normative looks like today is that we will start from an idea, like a big sweeping idea of a feature that we might be able to develop. We break it into smaller pieces, work out how to deliver those so that we can deliver quickly, and then we recombine them into a big unified whole that is hopefully a usable, useful, and effortless experience for our users to use. And I'm pretty much involved in all parts of this process. I might be visualizing the idea when we first think of it, what it actually means. I'll be part of breaking it down into smaller features and scoping those and working out what exactly we are delivering at like a micro level. But then also keeping the whole experience together and making sure that everything fits together in the end. And but how do we make sure that something is usable and useful and effortless? Well, at Normative, what that looks like is our user research process or our customer research process. And this is basically intended to answer how we know what human needs to kind of focus on. It's an effort of collating a lot of different data from different sources that come to us through various people at Normative or various sources of information from our product. And it'll be a combination of primary data, so interviews and user tests when we're actually talking directly to our users. It'll be secondary data, which is maybe insights referred to us by climate strategy advisors or someone working closely with the customers. It'll be quantitative data, which we can kind of observe directly how people are using our product, how they're structuring their data in our platform and so on. And it might be customer feedback at scale, which all together kind of combine into this knowledge that we use in order to generate what features we're going to develop next. And I'm going to show you a little bit how this looks in practice by focusing on a particular feature that we're developing as part of this reporting season, or that we just released. We call this the data collection tab. And the background of this really came from wanting to focus on the collaboration between the climate strategy advisors and our customers when they're collecting the data that is input into their calculation and is in the end used to report. And here we used a combination of different feedback sources. We used primary feedback calls with our customers. We used deep interviews with climate strategists. We looked at how customers were organizing their data on the platform, and then generated some ideas based on that, on how we could make this process smoother. What we found out from this process was, or we found out, we kind of knew this already, but it really opened our eyes to this part of it, basically, is that this is really a company-wide operation in many cases. We have a lot of different people, a lot of different departments involved, and not all those people are the same person, right? We found that a lot of the interactions between people was being done over email. That goes for both like just answering questions, but also maybe when sharing actual data, which is problematic for various reasons, right? We also found that all these people had varying levels of sustainability experience. So while maybe one stakeholder is very comfortable talking about the different scopes and categories that go into carbon reporting, maybe not everyone is. But we did find that we have one or some primary users that often lead the effort, who's kind of responsible for keeping this all together. And we kind of focused a lot on that user as part of this. The other thing that we sort of discovered as part of this, and Marika was kind of talking about this earlier as well, is that not all companies are alike. Every company has different needs and are at various levels of maturity with regard to how to report on their emissions. And that we also found that like some of them even if the ambition is there to bridge the accuracy gap, to improve the accuracy of their emissions, they might take it like piece by piece, start with a couple of categories, report in those, then add another category if they have the time, because we all have a limited amount of time during reporting season. So of course it's going to be dependent on what you're able to collect. But yeah, so we took all these insights and we combined them into the data collection tab, which I mentioned. And what this is really just a new way of structuring the data that you add into our platform. And it's meant to empower the driving user and the climate strategist as a kind of partnership to organize the data collection effort in your organization. It's also meant to make it easier to delegate work and follow progress, segmenting the data that needs to be collected into the different categories of the GHG protocol. How it serves users then is that it really breaks this big process down into smaller chunks. So you can see progress more directly. You can work on one part of it and maybe like take another part later, really doing this incremental thing that we saw some of our users already doing. We can also set a personalized scope for this, which basically means that maybe different parts of the organization need to focus on different categories of the GHG protocol. So requiring all of those departments to report in all of the different categories doesn't make sense, right? So this allows a little bit of targeting of that, which is nice. It's also a place that kind of empowers more users to work within the platform instead of over email. And why that is because not only can you see like what's been uploaded in the space, you can also download the templates directly from here and find detailed instructions on how to collect the data, which will empower a lot more people than the the driving user to go into the platform and self-serve and do all of the data collection work themselves, basically. And maybe what's most exciting is that this makes it possible for us in the product team and also Normative as a whole to give a lot more targeted help per category of data. We can focus in on what the user is looking at right now and give help relevant to what they're looking at. But probably even more exciting is that it opens up for us in future to even automate maybe some of these categories that have a lot more effort involved in them. I'm really excited to have you guys try this out. If you do pass on any feedback you have. Lucia will show you a little bit more what it looks like in practice in a moment. But before I hand over to her, I just wanted to mention, if you are a product professional who is watching this and feel like this sounds interesting, we are recruiting both designers and product managers right now. So check out our careers page if that's something that sounds interesting to you. Now I will hand over to Lucia who will talk about the rest of the presentation.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to join this webinar today. I work as a climate strategy advisor at Normative. Before we get started, a few words about myself. I'm German. I've been living in Malmö in southern Sweden for 5 years. I love rock climbing, going on walks with my dog, and spending time in nature. And I'm also really passionate about circular economy. At Normative, I support our users in their carbon accounting journey, and I also help them to develop their net zero plan. From my colleagues, you have heard a lot about our product and new features. I really wanted to give you a demo of Normative, so I pre-recorded a short video that we will look at together now. Hey everyone! From the features we've heard about today, Project is definitely my favorite, and I will show you why. Projects give more flexibility and customization possibilities to our users. Normative users have a variety of needs that our tool needs to fulfill. The first one is compliance and reporting. Most companies report their sustainability figures annually. For this, they need to see their yearly total emissions in Scope 1, 2, and 3. With projects, you can get easy access to those numbers while still being able to look at, for example, your quarterly figures. A project could also be set up for a specific entity. Global organizations have complex value chains, especially their Scope 3 includes a lot of data. To identify opportunities for reduction, companies need to be able to drill down data and analyze emission driving activities. When companies have many different entities, they might want to set up one project per subsidiary. This way, subsidiaries can filter out emissions that are tied to their business activities and use those insights to develop reduction plans. When collecting data for carbon accounting, people from many different departments, subsidiaries, or offices are involved. In global organizations, data is not always centralized. This way, it can be quite challenging to work in one project. With this new feature, data collection and analysis can be organized by our users, making the whole process easier and more efficient. Scope 3 consists of 15 categories, and not all of these categories are applicable to each company. So with this new data collection view, we can adjust what categories are shown so that every user who logs into Normative can easily see what categories are applicable to the company and what categories they should focus on. All right. I hope this gave you a better impression of our product. And yeah, Taylor already mentioned it. We have an exciting time coming up reporting season. In the climate strategy team, we work with Normative users every day. And it's always exciting for us when new product features are launched because we can immediately follow how people use it and the difference it makes for their work. As we are heading into reporting season, small improvements in the tool can mean a big impact for our users. And the features you have heard about today really do help save a lot of time, and this is crucial during reporting season. Especially in this busy period that is coming up, we want to make sure that our users have a smooth experience in the product and that they have all the support that they need to succeed in their tasks. This was it from me. I will hand back to Taylor.
Hello, it is me again, and I get the privilege of wrapping up. I would give a huge, huge thank you to Marika, Lucia, and Elise who joined me on this webinar today. I think that we have about 5 minutes left, so we're doing pretty good on time, and I have a few, there's many very, very good questions in the chat. I really appreciate everyone being super engaged. We will right now as everyone's reiterating on this call, it is not too late. If you want to get started with carbon reporting, or you want to just talk to a normative climate specialist, we can put up a little click button on the screen, and you could book a demo if you are interested. If you click book a demo, it will not close this webinar window. This will stay open. But that is available if you want it. Please do book a demo if you're interested. And I am going to go through a few of these questions. Starting at the top, I do promise if we run out of time, we will follow up with every single one of you directly. That is the reason that we collect questions the way that we do. I think a question that came up from a few of you was around Scope 3 and the data that we use for Scope 3. So what Normative uses, and you should definitely download it, that methodology white paper that I mentioned before, it goes into this in depth. But the 10,000 foot view is that Normative uses a hybrid methodology. So we use both a spend-based and an activity-based calculation to cover Scope 3. And what's great about our process is it means you can get to very, very high level of coverage with spend-based, for example, and then work with a climate specialist like Lucia to go through the report, find out where you might have gaps in data, find out where the resolution is not very high, you want more detail in some area, and then we can help you go back, identify more data, find more inputs. And in that way, a normative carbon calculation is kind of a continually refined tool. With every bit of information that you feed into it, it will give you more accurate calculations. And I think that that's what's so exciting about our work is that, I mean, it's what Lucia gets to do every day, is work with her customers to make sure we're inputting high quality data and continually refining those calculations over time. I did get a few questions around the sorts of companies that we work with. We have particularly strong experience in Scope 3 and supply chain because of the reasons I was just talking about. We have been on the market for almost 10 years. And so that's why we have such a deep database of not only emissions factors, but also over 10 million suppliers in our database. So we're tracking that many companies so that we can do those Scope 3 calculations very, very efficiently. That means that we can work accurately for all types of businesses. But as I said, our strong suit is companies that have complicated supply chains. That's where we really, I think, excel. We also work directly with users and consultancies or embedded consultants. Whatever you are looking for, we can work with that. A quick question was around the using software like SAP or importing data in Excel sheets. I think right now it's very, very flexible with how you input data. We have, as Elise showed, like very, very robust Excel templates for every single category. But we know that automation is really core to this data upload. And so it's in the very immediate roadmap to make more automated connectors. It's the sort of thing that we are actively building. Elise is probably doing her design process on this very topic. And so if you're interested in learning more about that, please do reach out, because I think that we are actively looking for partners to test some of these features. Let me see what we have. There was a question around financial institutions. Financial institutions, I know financial institutions, it's category 15, I believe, of the Greenhouse Gas Protocol, which is the financed emissions category. We are, I mean, I guess this is like a sneak preview, but we are working on that for this spring. We work with a lot of financial institutions right now, so we can already support that. But I think in as little as 2 months, we are going to fully automate category 15 calculations. So that is very, very exciting. I did get a few quite technical questions in the chat. Those are the ones that I will pass along to either our engineers or our climate specialists to get you good answers for. Yeah, I think the rest are a little more challenging, and I will connect you all to the right people. We have 1 minute left, so I'm going to wrap up there. Once again, I'm incredibly grateful for all of you joining today. We will get to all of your questions. Yeah, we'll get to all of your questions in the next few days, but we will follow up. And yeah, I think that the recording will come. I think that's it. But you have our LinkedIn contact. The recording will be coming into your inbox sooner or later. And I extend a huge amount of gratitude for everyone who joined us. Thank you so much. We will wrap up.